Hello, welcome to the podcast. Today we are going to share with you a beautiful live root cause coaching session that Chris did with Nicole, who put her hand up to our podcast pitch on socials and in our email list. We, from time to time, just see if there's anyone who would like to come on the podcast for a live root cause coaching session so that you can get a feel as to how we work with the people inside our ending body burnout method. And Nicole was brave enough to put her hand up, and she wanted to really get to the bottom of, or the root of, her burnout patterns, showing up as perfectionism, overdoing, controlling patterns, and struggling to switch her mind off at night, leading to sleep issues. Nicole also shares how she has struggled to really rest and be still and find that balance there to counteract the overdoing patterns that she has. So it is a rare honor to listen in on a really personal coaching session. So I want to just acknowledge Nicole for sharing herself so vulnerably and being open to be coached on the episode. And I'd love you to give her some energetic virtual love and compassion as you listen into this conversation. You might even find yourself resonating with the struggles and the beliefs and the patterns and even the insights that come out of this conversation, which is the beautiful gift that keeps on giving. So not only did Nicole get some insights and some deeper understandings, but as you listen in and you put your own story into the coaching session, our hope is that you will also have some insights and maybe even some shifts, big or small, around your own body burnout patterns and the root causes of them. Also, if your heart is resonating with our style of holistic root cause healing, or what we call root cause healing, and you are done with band-aid approaches and just managing your symptoms, and you're ready for real and long-lasting solutions, I'd love to invite you to join our waitlist for our Ending Body Burnout method. So we will be opening doors again in September, which isn't too far away. And today's episode really gives you a glimpse into the metaphysical side of healing that we do with our clients. We're also supporting them physically, working therapeutically with any body system imbalances, but really going underneath and looking at why are your body systems burnt out in the first place? Why are you running these burnout patterns? What's blocking you from healing? And so essentially, this is the big work that we do inside the method. Also, if you would like to be coached on the podcast, you are very welcome to head down to the show notes, and there'll be a link there where you can apply to come onto the podcast for a live spark or root cause coaching session. So feel free to do that. Otherwise, sit back, grab some organic popcorn, and I think you're really going to enjoy this coaching session.
Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We are your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of a multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, addictive doing, people-pleasing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams.
Let's dive in. Welcome everybody to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We have a special guest on today who has volunteered for a coaching call. Nicole, thank you so much for responding to the call and jumping on for a coaching call today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we kind of had a brief chat before we went on air, but I just want to know, what is something that you would like to get out of our time today?
I'm really interested to learn more about my burnout points, what triggers are, my normal sort of patterns, and how I can overcome those.
Cool. Okay. So patterns, how to overcome burnout points. Cool. All right. Before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do, who you are, your background, what life is like for you? Did I say how old you are? What your family's like, what your work is like, business? Just give me a Nicole rundown.
No worries. I'm 25, 38.
Ah,
I'm a mum of I'm a mum of two girls who are 8 and 10. They both have additional needs and are on the spectrum. My husband, we've been married for 2 years, a Tinder romance. He works away 10 days out of 14 fixing railway. So most of the time it's with me with my girls and or our girl, should I say, sorry. And I have a business called Tradie CFO, where bookkeepers and accountants, specifically for tradies, builders, construction, and manufacturing, helping them with their financial literacy and learn about their numbers so they can have better businesses, so they can live better lives. Growing up, I grew up in a family trade business. My father was always working longer, harder hours. And if he had access to the services that I now provide, he wouldn't be like he died 5 years ago from cancer and didn't actually live his life. And there, if he had these sort of skills and that now, like he would have had memories and actually ticked off his bucket list. So we also ran a caravan manufacturing company together as well. And yeah, but 5 years ago when COVID hit, I was out on the farm with the kid's father, running the caravan business because dad had the cancer, running an accounting practice, doing the mum thing, living 40 minutes out of town. I don't know how I did it all. Um, yeah, sort of 5 years ago with COVID and everyone going, I want this, I want that. There's this grant, there's that grant. Everyone screaming at you, despite my own personal stuff that I had going on. I left the marriage and moved into town, was very badly depressed, and the grief with my father as well, in his passing. Like I hit burnout. I hated who I was. I was 150 kilos. And post then I lost about 65 kilos, naturally, diet and exercise. And I've got the work-life balance that I enjoy. Time is the one commodity you can't buy more of, get more back, or trade for it. But I always have patterns of, I've just got to get this done, just got to get this done. I really need to help people. And these things lead me to getting back to a point where I'm just too busy being busy and not focusing on my time and the things that actually matter.
okay. So thanks for that. A couple of things come to me. First thing is this last part of the decade has been I'm imagining a challenging time for you, right?
Yeah, lessons and memories though. Always been a glass half full kind of person. All my feelings are valid, and you try to best work through those. But then it's like, right, what can we do? What's the next best step to move away from this and move to somewhere more positive?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so always thinking glass half full, moving to something positive, a growth mindset. Like it sounds like that's what you tried to adopt. That's your strategy to you've got ability to do something about your life. It sounds that you
Yeah.
embody that, right?
Yeah. Oh, the biggest thing I learned from my father's death is final. You don't get time back. You don't have choices once you're dead. So that really has pivoted my life and how I live it now.
Oh yeah,
It's final, very final.
yeah, yeah. It's not a no return to sender. Get back,
No,
get
it's not.
get back in the game. You're not done. There's another quarter to go. Get
Absolutely.
back in there. Yeah, there's none of that. So you mentioned it's been pivotal for you. Your dad's dying, what sort of, you mentioned a couple of things like death is final, you can't get time back. Like, have you always had that thought in the back of your mind? Has it always been there, or what's going on with that?
Probably more no than yes. It's not until everything's lying in front of you that, or until you hit rock bottom, that you really count what matters. And for me, like, I've definitely found a pattern of, if I'm not feeling quite right, I just need movement. I need to walk. I need to do something. I don't like stationary. I feel like there's no growth when you're stationary. Um, it's about what like counting time or using. My biggest fear is wasting time.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. So that probably stems to why I always end up trying to be busy.
yeah, yeah. This belief, it's not a bad thing. Have you listened to much of our podcast, or read a book or anything like that?
I've listened to a few podcasts.
Cool. Have you heard this line? It's not a problem till it is. Everything's okay till it's not. Have you heard
Yes.
that? Yeah. Cool. Because being stationary is, you're not gonna. Maybe you won't grow, but maybe you're not gonna burn in hell. You're not an evil person for being stationary, but you're also like growing and moving and doing that sort of stuff. It's not a bad thing either. You're not gonna burn in hell by activity and achievement and doingness. It's not a problem until it is. Being stationary is okay till it's not. Growing, doing, being some sort of way is okay till it's not, right? But then you've got this fear, your greatest. It's not just a fear or this thing that, sometimes I think about. It's you use the words like my greatest
It's
fear.
always in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always in there.
Yeah. It is.
Can you tell me, is that okay? Like, has that reached a point where, actually, it is always in there, so I do value time, but sometimes I think it's a problem. Do you think that at all?
Um, for me, I think, so say when it comes down to financial things and why I'm big into helping tradies understand their numbers, because when it's not about the dollars, but when you have money, money gives you choices. And when you have both of those, you have more time back. So you can pay people to delegate and do all those things that you want to do. But with time, it's using it wisely, because I always get stuck. It's like you just don't get it back. So for me, it's about making sure that, like, if I've got a couple different options, I'm always going to choose the option that's best across the thing, where it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to spend, like, say, when it comes to my media, advertising, and that sort of stuff, it's not a strength of mine. So why am I going to waste my time doing that? I'm going to go and delegate that. Um, but for me personally, it's a case of, I would much rather spend my time going to watch the kids at their school sports rather than sitting behind the desk. And it always feels like, what's the opportunity cost versus what if you don't actually do it? Like, you don't get moments back either. You've only got 18 summers with your kids. But it's a playoff, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, where is it? We might be going down the wrong path. So this might be not wrong, but we might be going down a path that, doesn't go anywhere. But is this something that you think is a potentially a dysfunctional pattern for you? Is there any sort of dysfunctional pattern in there? Because when we first started, you wanted to explore some patterns that might be hidden to you or not obvious to you. Usually those ones are like, what have I got on my desk here? Nothing. My desk is actually quite clean today. That's weird. Something kind of hidden, like a Where's Wally type thing. You got to kind of take a little bit of time to look for it. You know what I mean?
Let's go digging.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go digging.
I love it. So, it does sound to me that your value for time has some beautiful benefits that serve you tremendously. You get a lot of certainty, you get a lot of growth, sounds like you get connection with the most important thing by prioritizing your time. So I think that the upside is there. Is there anything in there where you feel like, but and then fill in the blank kind of problem, issue? Do you know what I mean? What would that, if you filled in the blanks, that, but sometimes
Yeah. See, that would come back down to is like, I spend so much time trying to spend my time wisely that there's all that stuff that's always going to be underneath that still needs attention, it still needs doing. So when my attention isn't where, like, I'm spending the time where I want to have those moments and time with my kids or my family, then I'm going to be up till stupid o'clock doing all of those other things that fall underneath that still need to be done. And I am a bit of a control freak. I like to do things myself. I'm a perfectionist as well. And those sort of things lead me to not getting enough sleep. You're sort of up in the middle of the night thinking about things still, or you're thinking about the next thing consistently. It's hard to switch off.
yeah, okay. How much of an issue is that? Like, is that it's actually, yeah, it's hard to switch off. However, I'm actually really good at noticing it, and then I fix it and blah blah blah. So it's kind of like a pendulum or a balance or something or it's like, no, it's actually harder than hard. I don't switch off.
Yeah, I
where are you?
find that it's harder than hard. It will be until like I just get a impatient sort of tick. It's like I'll be sitting there tapping my foot on my pen or something like that, and I get short. I end up getting snappy, and then it's like, oh, that's the reset. Let's go back, put our things back in place. But then it's a continual type of thing. I'll go back to good, and then I'll get back into the old patterns.
Mm. Okay. All right. Let's grab the shovel. Okay. So let me grab let's do ASMR. That's it. A little pattern interrupt. Okay. So what kind of person are you? Like you've said perfectionist, control freak. Like, do you have it, that sort of language? If I was at high school and someone called me a freak, or if I called someone a freak, that's almost like bullying, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not it's probably, in my opinion, feel free to not have my opinion. It seems like there might be nice things to say to someone. It's like, oh, you've got a really nice shirt, even though it's black and they've got eyeshadow and kind of gothic, and you're like, you really love black, don't you? Rather than saying, you're a real freak, aren't you? You freaky freaker. So there's nice things to say, then there's not nice things. Control freak, perfectionist. How do you feel about those sort of things?
I'm very black and white. There isn't a lot of grayscale with me. I don't, like, for me personally, I don't feel like I'm talking down to myself. It's like a spade's a spade.
Uh-huh.
Like, I wouldn't go to someone else, oh, you're a control freak. But I'm comfortably in my own skin to recognize, like, however it comes out, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like I used to, like there would still be things about me now, but say 5 years ago, I hated who I was. I changed myself that much because I thought, like it takes two people to make a relationship work, but when you're on a downward spiral and you're changing yourself to try and make a relationship work, um, it's taken a lot of rebuilding to get to where I am. And even though I come across very confident with speaking, I still have um, there is a lot of areas as well where I don't have a lot of confidence. Like I don't like public speaking. I've been hanging off from building my online course for ages because I don't like being behind a camera. But this is okay because I'm talking to someone, I'm interacting. But when it's me being center of attention, like just put me in the trenches, let me do the work. I don't need to be the face of something. So there's always that goes on as well.
Yeah, which is fine, you know. Uh, Everything's okay till it's not, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah. So if we were to dig under this, like what? Okay, perfectionist, hard to switch off, black and white, not much grey. 5 years ago, you hated yourself. You were 150 kilos, lost, what did you say, 60 kilos. So you ate better or differently, like, and you moved your body differently, and the result of that is you're 60 kilos of you metabolized 60 kilos of your body and used it for energy, and you're a different physical person, right? Take a moment to answer this question. Just have a breath and think about it. Think about what we've talked about so far: control, perfection, hard to switch off, even black and white thinking, even issues and thoughts about yourself from the past where you hated yourself, and you've worked on that, and it sounds like you've done, you're not starting from zero. You're on your journey right now, Just take a moment and think, where's the problem? What's a problem that you've got going on that you feel like, you know what? If I think about all of that, I actually do have a bit of a problem with. So just take a moment, think about it. Let me know what comes up.
Um, yeah, it's kind of turned into a counseling session, hasn't it? Um, I like a lot of it would like I along with like the diet and then exercise and that sort of stuff. A lot of it came down to seeking a lot of counseling as well to actually learn what triggers are, work through your feelings and validate them and give you strategies to be able to cope sort of going forward. A lot of the things that still sort of come up for me are um, like, I'm not close with my sister. My relationship with my mum is strained. And there's always, like, I was bullied a lot as a kid and all that sort of stuff, a failed marriage. And I don't know if it stems down to this, like, whether I feel abandoned, whether I don't feel accepted. And it's like, always trying to be on the improve, like I've got something to prove, but it's trying to prove it to myself.
Here we go.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. What's the problem with you as a person? Why have you got to prove yourself?
Good question. So now you're digging. It's like, it's going to take about 10 counseling sessions probably to get to the bottom of that one. Um, I spoke like one of my big mantras is I can control what I say and do and how I respond to others. So I've got full control over that stuff. But still, it doesn't matter how much you like, you can do so much work on yourself and try and prove so much to yourself. But it's still that thing of feel like everybody wants to be able to connect. Everyone wants to feel accepted for who they are. And when you have past traumas, it's like, yeah, it's really a thing of really trying to reprogram your brain.
Mm. Mm.
So that's like, that doesn't even answer why do I have a problem with trying to need to prove something to myself?
Mm.
Because like I'm a decent person. I like who I am. I'm in the relationships that I maintain, like when they feel balanced, they feel accepted, there's no expectations from either side. It's enjoying about what someone else brings to the table about them uniquely. Like they're all really positive things. So but it's like, what's this underlying seed that continues to sit there?
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty wise.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I found is there's going to be there's physical things that we could go down. If you eat this and if you don't eat that, if you do this and you don't do that, we call them strategies. You can't have any sort of symptom without something happening in your body, as a consequence or a cause. There's always going to be some sort of dysfunctioning body system, physical thing that's going on when someone comes to us or when someone has a symptom. So overweight is a symptom, sleeplessness is a symptom, mood, depression, anxiety, fear, shame, all these sort of things are symptoms. There's going to be a physical thing as well. They're always holding hands. But it's like, yeah, okay, but why? Where did this come from? How did this start? And sometimes it's not like stubbing your toe, You're like, I just stubbed my toe and now I've got a sore foot. Yeah, okay, cool. Are you okay? Yeah, I'll be okay and I'll heal. No, we're talking about burnout. Burnout is, it's not just I stub my toe. I keep stubbing my toe and I'm so scared of stubbing my toe again. I'm always stubbing my toe. I've got a real pattern. I've been stubbing my toe my whole life and now my poor toe just feels some sort of kind of bad way. Do you know?
Yeah.
And you mentioned trauma. Things happen in the past. Being bullied at school. You're not at school anymore.
No.
Those things are really hard, and I just want to hold some space for that and just say, yeah, I don't know what you went through. I don't know those experiences. They sound really tough and challenging, and any trauma is really, really hard and really challenging, and it's in the past. Even though it still hurts to think about, those events are in the past. And what I've found is they pale in comparison in challengingness and hardness and harshness and awfulness. Those events, as hard and as awful as they are, they pale in comparison to the constant barrage of shameful thinking that you have about yourself over and over again after that is done.
Yeah.
It just happens over and over again. It's so awful. It's so sad. number one, to have those experiences and trauma. So I would love for those things to not exist. But what's even more important is to look at how you think about you. Because that's the real ongoing problem. And if you don't fix that, that's the equivalent of wanting to stub your toe.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting?
Tell me.
For shits and giggles, it would have been about 6 years ago, I went to a tarot card reader.
Ooh.
And it was, the thing she was going through was just so interesting. And the one thing she said to herself, despite everything else that you've got going on here that you're going to have to work with, the one thing you need to stop doing is the way that you talk to yourself is disgusting.
How did you take that at the time?
Oh, like it's like you're not wrong. Not wrong. So interesting.
Yeah. How did that change you hearing what she said?
That was sort of about 12 months before but the end of the marriage, and like everything was sort of on the rocks and that anyway. And yeah, like she wasn't wrong, because realistically I'm the one that has control over how I feel about myself and how I let other people affect me. So it's just another part of the journey that sort of spurred you on to wanting better for yourself. And like it's moved me in the right path, but obviously there's always work to do.
Yeah. There's this saying that you say to yourself, and you don't know you're saying it, and you say it to yourself unconsciously over and over again, and you it's not just saying, it's you believe it about yourself, and it's that belief about yourself that gets you doing all the problems of proving. Anytime you tip over into unresourceful or dysfunctional patterns, if you dig underneath it, there's going to be this saying that you're saying to yourself in your unconsciously. It's, I am not enough in some way, shape, or form. Actually, more than that, I am really rubbish. And it's always nasty. It's always mean. It's always unkind. And so if you dug a little bit or a lot bit, you'll find this, Phil and I call it your root cause. It's this belief about yourself that's really, really not nice. Have you done any work on your insecurities or self-perception or anything like that in the past?
More so probably around grief and like anxiety, depression, and that sort of stuff. Like I'm working with a leadership coach. Life coach at the moment. Yeah, so like there's different things that sort of comes up, but probably no, I haven't dealt enough into that area, and who's the right person to sort of help you with that.
Yeah. I know a couple of people that are really good at that. The way that we do it is we go, okay, what's going on? I do this. And what's the problem with that? It's this. Okay, and what's the problem with that? Well, it's this. Okay, and how is that a problem? How does that affect you? Well, this. Okay, and maybe blah, blah, blah happens. So what's the problem with that? And so we do a bit of digging. And anyone listening to our conversation, you can do this too. You just dig under and you find a deep problem. And when you kind of start saying the same thing over and over again, or you get to a certain point you can say, all right, and what do you make that mean about you? Or what does that mean about you? And you say, well, I am blah, blah, blah. And what's the problem with thinking you're blah, blah, blah? Well, this. And then we might go down a little bit and we might say, and where else is that a problem? We find some patterns where this is an issue for you. We dig and we go a little bit deeper, and I say, and what does that mean about you? And you might say the exact same thing, but sometimes you will say, well, I think this about me. Like, ooh. And then one will just hit you and you'll feel some sort of way. And you just, whatever that is, you just take a note of it and you see if that pops up in any other problem that you've got going on. And what Philly and I will do as part of our ending body burnout method is we will get to that deep root cause. And what we found is that deep root cause is under every dysfunctional pattern, every unresourceful pattern that you've got. Any time where you feel triggered or annoyed or frustrated or need to prove and defend, any time you feel frustrated, even stressed or worried or any insecurity, underneath all of that will be the exact same root cause. It's every time. And if you can reframe that and believe something different about yourself, then you don't need to fix, you don't need to manage, you don't need to mask, you don't need to medicate, you don't need to prove and defend, because you believe some sort of different thing now about yourself. And we found that unless you change that root belief about yourself, keep stubbing your toe, keep banging your foot on things, you can't heal because you keep not wanting to heal deep down. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to do a little bit of digging, see if we can get you there?
Go nuts. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Well, where will we start? Let's go traumas, proving something to yourself. The way 6 years ago, the way you talk about yourself is disgusting. 60 kilos heavier back then. And then today, like you've got, you do try hard, you do intentionally try to use your time intentionally. But what happens if you don't? What's the worst that can happen if you don't use your time wisely? All that sort of stuff.
For me, it would be not being present for those around me, like my kids, for my husband, for my clients. Um, yeah, like say, like it might be my daughter's first basketball semi-final, like that's on a weekend. But if you're too busy doing this or too busy doing that, like, I'm not going to get that moment back watching her. At least I'm showing up for her, which means I'm showing up for myself as well. So with that stems back to with my dad, like, working longer, harder hours. I've always said that, it's not about expensive holidays or the things you can buy and that sort of stuff. Like he did what he could and made sure we had, a roof over our heads, food in our bellies, a warm bed to sleep in and all that sort of stuff. But he wasn't present. All I could ever want was like, sit down, read us a book. Let's go for a walk to the park. How was your day? All of those things that cost nothing but a little bit of time and a little bit of showing up. Like, obviously, I can, as a parent, I can choose to do that differently with my own family. So that's like a choice that I have.
Okay. And why is it a problem if you don't do that? Like, you know, like, I mean, it makes sense. I get it. But if we were to do a little bit of digging, let's just say you don't show up for your daughter. You don't go to the basketball game, and you maybe repeat those patterns that you learnt from your dad. You know, how is that a problem?
Not connecting, not maintaining, like, not putting the effort into a relationship, because uh, like, you learn from the environment that you grow up in and that you surround yourself in. And like, though, like, it's may seem like such a small um thing in this, like, item in the scheme of things, but I suppose for me, by having connecting with people, it's a way of feeling validated, it's a way of feeling accepted as well. But for me, as a parent turning up for my daughter, I want her to know that I accept her, that I love her for being out there and having a go, and that I'm proud of her. So those are all things that maybe, like, I'm not saying anything about the way I was brought up or my folks or anything else at all. But as a parent, these are things that matter to me, and I want my daughter to feel great and like feel that coming from me as her mum.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
I know that doesn't really answer your question of,
I
but what if you don't do it? Um,
Yeah.
like, what else would I be like? You'd probably be sitting on the couch, not doing anything. Like, what's the better way to spend? I would creating a memory is the better thing. Like, and that sort of comes back to, like, I can't sit on the couch and do nothing. That's not me. I'm stationary.
Mm,
So it's like, if you're stationary, does that mean that you've got time to think, time to process stuff, time to sit with the uncomfortable? And am I choosing not to do that?
what about this? So, um, stationary. Yeah. What's the? Do we go down the? Well, let's just see. Okay. Okay. So that's not me. I'm not stationary. Okay. Well, who are you when you are stationary?
That is a very good question as well.
What kind of person is stationary? What kind of person sits on the couch versus creating memories?
Someone could be relaxing.
Yeah, someone, but
Um,
you. What about
so
you? You know?
someone could be relaxing. Um, It's like, if I'm stationary, like, that's one of my other fears as well, is putting weight on again. If I put weight on again, I'm unhealthy. I don't like the way I look. That then stems to, the mental and emotional way, you think and feel about yourself, not being able to be active, which is then taking choices away from being able to participate and all of that sort of stuff. So if I'm sitting there stationary, I'm like, I probably, like, a very simple answer is like, I don't feel like much, which is the bottom line, isn't it?
Don't feel like much. Yeah.
That's a nice, yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like much. I just want to, I'm not saying being stationary is the goal or not being stationary is the goal. That's not what my intention right now is, to just kind of test you and like just do a little bit of digging, like I Doesn't, you know, can be
I
stationary or
don't,
not, you know.
yeah, I don't feel judged if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, and so let's go. You don't feel like much when you are stationary, or even if you do think about being stationary, because it sounds like there's not actually very much of the being stationary. Not anymore, anyway. Not in this half of the decade, right? So if you were stationary and you didn't feel like much, can you speak a little bit more about that? I want to know more about this
Um,
stationary.
so if I had a choice beside, like, of say, I like sitting on the couch and watching a movie. If I was watching the movie there with someone, then that's awesome. But I would prefer to be out in the paddock with my horse because my horse fills up my bucket. Like I'm very big about filling up your bucket about the things that you like doing. Um, if like, I say not much, it's like I don't have feeling sort of either way. You're not there competing about, oh, what are people going to think about me? Or, you know, when you are stationary, I guess like there is none of those other pressures surrounding you. But when I'm doing something, I'm getting some sort of fulfillment. And when you're getting fulfillment, that makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. What if you're what if you're I mean, yeah, fill your bucket. That's all great. I love it. Buckets are nice to be filled. That's why we have buckets to fill them up with stuff. um, what if your what if your bucket wasn't full? What if you Oh, where do we go here? So,
Yeah, no,
do you know?
that's a good one. If my bucket wasn't full, oh, sorry, if I wasn't filling my bucket to try and keep myself at a good level, I wouldn't be in a good place. So that would probably be the fear of like, going back to where I was, being depressed, being anxious, um, not feeling like I can be like I could easily just go hide. My retreat would either be, it's so easy to cut people off or to go hide under a rock. It's like I don't want to be that person, so I have all these strategies
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like it's so easy for me to be a recluse, but I don't want to be a recluse because I like connection. I like being out there in life.
Yeah. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. So this is where I think I don't know if this makes sense, but filling your bucket's not a bad thing. Connecting with people's not obviously not a bad thing until it is, you know. Some people will sell their soul just to connect, right? They'll do you know what I mean? They
Yeah, that's definitely not me in that category. I
yeah.
value the people that are around me. Like there's something that's mutual there if people have expectations or want something from me. Like one of the big things with quite a few people that I don't have a lot to do with, like they see me as a walking ATM. What else can I get out of her?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about having the right people around you and wanting to keep connections with them.
I love it. Yeah. I that's how that sounds similar to my own personal thoughts as well. And then I just think, okay, but then there's this part of you that just it sounds like it's like in the I don't know like back of your mind or just somewhere kind of lurking where it's just kind of waiting just for you to want it, a moment of weakness or something. This part of you just come on, and then you're fighting against it. You say no, I don't think that. I am going to be not stationary because I don't want to be a recluse. I don't want to retreat and hide. I don't want to be anxious and depressed. I want to be in a good place. I want to fill my bucket, you know?
Yeah. What you said is exactly spot on.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you go into more detail for me? What do you
Oh, you might
mean?
have to prompt me with some more
Yeah.
questions.
What hit you when I was saying that?
Um, like the way you sort of saying it, like it's the demon that's sort of sitting there, like it's Yeah, like the question is my head, what am I trying to fight?
Mm, mm,
Like, what is that issue?
yeah. Fight. This is conflict. This is
Yeah.
Palestine, Israel. This is Russia, Ukraine. This is them versus them. This is one team versus another team. Competition, fighting, demon versus angel, good versus evil, bad versus good. That's a similar sort of thing. Right, wrong, you know? But this demon sitting there that you're fighting. Who is that? What is that demon?
I'd really like to know. That's so helpful.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this demon is tempting you or wanting you to do something or be some sort of way, right? And you're fighting against it. You're like, no, I am going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, I'm going to go and do blah, blah, blah. You've put your foot down. Does that make sense? Who's this demon? What is this demon?
Very good question. I don't need it. Oh, don't feel it. The thing that I need an exorcism, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely need more work in that area of being kinder to myself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting to the root of those.
Okay. So, here's my. I think this is probably when we first came on. What would you like to do? I'd like to look at my patterns. I'd like to look at more burnout points, how to overcome those. Right, like use the word overcome. It's another way of saying win or beat or fight and stand on the mound of my enemies with my sword aloft. I am the winner. You know, something like that. Now, where have we got to right now? Just as a recap, we've kind of found there's a demon, in your words, sitting there and you're fighting it. And that demon, we got to there because we're talking about filling your bucket, and perhaps this demon wants you to do some sort of thing, or maybe not do some sort of thing. It wants you to be some kind of way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that resonating? Is that?
I think demon's probably the wrong word because that sounds makes me it's a really funny word. Yeah, like there's definitely something there which like, because that's who I used to be, like I don't want to be, and there's obviously still a part of me that it would be so easy if you stop doing your strategies, you're going to end up back there again. And I didn't like who that person was 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah. 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 So these strategies are kind of to manage that part of you, to manage and make sure it doesn't come out again, that it doesn't show its head, that it doesn't become a part of your life again, that it doesn't control the whole show again. Right? I've mentioned this on another podcast. There was an ad. This is the fast forward edition. A guy lost his son to SIDS, and him and his wife went through a breakup, and he couldn't stop thinking about how he might have been responsible, and in his words, how he was responsible, what he did, and blah, 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 who he was. So he turned to drugs and alcohol, and he used drugs and alcohol so he would just fall asleep and wouldn't dream. And for a long time, he tried to think, damn, drugs and alcohol is a real problem. I got to stop my drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol is a real problem for me. And then he had an eye-opening moment where, oh, actually, drugs and alcohol isn't my problem. It's my solution. And okay, well, if it's my solution, if I think about it as my solution, what problem is it trying to solve? So, well, I don't want to go to sleep at night. I don't want to dream. All right, well, what am I dreaming about? I'm dreaming about my son. Okay, and what happened to your son? Well, my son died. Right. And how did that happen? Well, sudden infant death. Right. And what does that mean about you? It means this. It means I'm blah, blah, blah. Right. Drugs and alcohol became his solution, his strategy to not think about him being that, to forget he believed that about himself. And when he went sober, he just remembered, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm a piece of garbage. And this demon in you isn't the problem. It's the solution to something.
Yeah.
And my invitation would be, okay, what if it wasn't a demon? What if it was a part of you that actually wanted the best for you? And I'll see if I can find the right words for this. This makes sense.
However it comes out is perfect.
Yeah, like this part of you, that demon, that part that wants you to be stationary, that wants you to be some sort of way, is a beautiful part of you. It's not an evil, nasty part of you. It's a beautiful part of you that was just, it went a little bit too over the top. It didn't find balance. It wanted you to survive somehow, some way, some shape or form. It was your childish solution to being some kind of way, just so you could survive, man. And so you've got this part of you that's still hanging on, that needs to be just let go. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, it does. And it just brings up other sort of stuff, like when you talk about the child within yourself and that, like my aunt and I have had, she's like, I have a lot of questions. Like, I'd love to learn more about my parents' relationship and, their upbringings and all the rest of it. But yeah, one thing my aunt said is you didn't know what love was. Like I remember her saying, I cuddle, like I'd have to go wrap my arms around you and your hands would be by your side.
Right.
And it's like one thing I have said about my previous marriage was I walked out, and this is probably the same as the relationship with my sister. She chose not to have anything to do with me. My relationship with my mum, that's frayed. It's like I felt like I was hard to love, and it sort of stems like the right way sort of through. But it's interesting because with my husband and the people that I choose to have around me, they don't make me feel that way at all, or that love is conditional, that, you've got to do this if you want me to feel that way about you. And there's just none of that exists. My office is now free. Yeah. Yeah, like all that sort of stuff comes up.
Yeah. Thank you. And the wonderful thing about your husband and your kids, they don't make you feel like that. They love you unconditionally. There's no fine print, and that's lovely. And then it sounds like there's this part of you that could be examined a little bit more about, okay, yeah, they love me unconditionally, but there's a little part of me, or maybe it's a big part of me, of you, that doesn't love myself in some way, shape, or form. And you said something, and I for those of you listening and not watching, Nicole's eyes just did I don't know if this means anything, but your eyes, I don't know, it was like they got tears or moisture.
Oh, stop it. You're going to do that to me now. My tissues are over there.
That,
this is what
that when you said I was hard to love, that came
it's a
up.
real thing.
It's a real thing, yeah.
It's a real thing. So
it is a real
everyone
thing.
see me on Australian podcasts.
This is what, and to be honest, here's why people love you and they love working with you. And I feel like what you're describing is, I'm a big-hearted woman who wants to give and serve, and I want to connect. You talked about your family, but you also talked about your client. And I don't know if there's any of your clients watching this, they're like, no flippin' wonder I love working with her, because she just flaming cares. And that's brilliant. But there's a part of you that you don't have that for yourself.
Yep.
And anybody watching this that just loves you tremendously is just like, oh, I want her to feel what she makes me feel. I want her to feel this love for herself. Like, I can imagine. It wouldn't surprise me. I betcha. $1 million. Monopoly money.
And you know what? I know that you would be right.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll probably pump the brakes here just as we got to the good bit. But my invitation to you, Nicole, would be to and anybody else who's listening that resonates, just blank sheet of paper and a beautiful book, in your favorite book, make it new or make it old, whatever. I'm hard to love, or I can't love myself, or I don't love myself because, and this might seem negative, and this might seem, why would I want to do that? That's not positive. Yeah, I get it. But you've got this hiding beneath the surface somewhere, you know? It's there. So have a think about it, get it out. Don't hide it, don't suppress it. Do you know what I mean? Let it have a voice. Let it speak. Okay, what's this all about? What else do I believe about me? And then once it's out, then you can actually do something with it. But if it stays in there buried, you just mask, you manage, you medicate, you bury yourself into the ground with activity.
Yeah. Activities are fun.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and I would argue that guy on the YouTube ad said drugs and alcohol were fun. And then they got to a point where he thought they became a problem, but they were his solution, right? So swap drugs and alcohol for activities or something. You know what I mean? And that's not a problem. It's your solution. And so you can start to unravel these things, do a little bit more digging on, okay, well, how do I use activities, which are fun, as a solution to cover up for this unlovable part of me.
I'll have to give that a crack.
Yay. I'd love to know what you come up with as well. After we finish chatting, I'll give you my details, and then if you're up for it, shoot me a brain dump. I'd love to hear more. But thank you so much. We might wrap it up there. The intention was to get to a pattern or get to a burnout cause. How do you think we went with that?
Sort of turned into a little bit more of a counseling session, but if I'm able to dig to the root cause and find out where these patterns are coming from, that's going to make a big difference to my life and the way that I live it, and not feel like I've always constantly got to be on the move and then feel down on myself if, like consolation prize or, it'll be a good exercise, and
Awesome.
definitely something I'm going to be proactive and take action on.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, so do you get why I went in the direction that I went? Does that make sense to you? Or are
Yes,
you,
it does.
Yeah, you get it? Yeah. What's the dots? How can you connect the dots? Why might this seeming counseling session, what the heck do you think that's got to do with patterns and burnout? Why in the sausage did Chris even go down this path? What do you reckon?
I don't know, maybe it was the most fun rabbit hole to go down. No, it is about getting to the root cause and not just trying to have, the symptoms and the solutions on top, because that's a Band-Aid solution.
That's it. Yeah. And if I just said something like, you just got to use more willpower, or just shut that demon up, baby, and just like go hard. Yeah, hard. I could have given you some strategies like that, and yeah, maybe they might work. But why are you even doing this? Why is this even a pattern for you in the first place, Yeah, I look forward to hearing some more from you. And if my conversation with Nicole resonates with anybody, I'd love to hear from you as well. But we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, Nicole. Stick around. But everybody else, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll chat to you later.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout Assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook.
Have the best day ever.